Welcome back to 𝗙𝗲𝗃𝗲𝗏, where we navigate life's most challenging situations with Stoic principles and emotional intelligence. I'm glad you're here with us today. Today, we're delving into a topic that might hit close to home for some of you, the subtle signs in communication that might indicate your partner is being unfaithful. Now, before we begin, I want to clarify something important. This video isn't about creating paranoia or distrust in your relationship. Rather, it's about understanding human nature, recognizing patterns, and approaching difficult situations with wisdom and emotional clarity. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters." The knowledge I'm about to share isn't meant to hurt you, but to prepare you and help you respond wisely if you ever find yourself in such a situation. If you're new here, welcome to 𝗙𝗲𝗃𝗲𝗏. We focus on self-development and emotional intelligence that can help you navigate life's most complex situations. If you find value in what you learned today, consider hitting that subscribe button and joining our community of mindful individuals seeking growth. So let's begin this journey together, recognizing the verbal cues that might indicate someone is being unfaithful. Section 1. The change in pronouns. I instead of we. One of the earliest signs of emotional disconnection in a relationship is a shift in language, specifically in pronoun usage. When someone who used to say we starts predominantly using I when talking about future plans, it might be time to pay attention. For instance, if your partner suddenly starts saying things like, "I might go on vacation this summer," instead of "we should plan our summer vacation," they might be mentally creating a future that doesn't include you. This linguistic shift often happens unconsciously as someone begins to emotionally detach. It's not necessarily proof of cheating, but it can indicate a growing emotional distance, which sometimes precedes physical infidelity. As Seneca wisely noted, the greatest remedy for anger is delay. If you notice this pattern, don't immediately confront your partner with accusations. Instead, observe more closely and consider having an open conversation about your feelings and the future of your relationship. Drop a comment below with the word pronouns if you've ever noticed this shift in your own relationship or someone else's. Section 2, I need space, or I need time to figure things out. When someone says they need space or time to figure things out, it often triggers alarm bells, and sometimes with good reason. While everyone needs personal space in a healthy relationship, the timing and context of this request matter significantly. If this comes after a period of increased secretiveness, unexplained absences, or emotional withdrawal, it might be a way for your partner to explore another relationship without technically cheating. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. If your partner asks for space, you cannot control their decision, but you can control how you respond. Rather than desperately clinging tighter, which often pushes them further away, consider saying something like, "I respect your need for space, and I value our relationship enough to give you that, but I also deserve clarity about what this means for us." A person who genuinely needs temporary space for personal growth will appreciate this maturity. Someone who's using space as a cover for inappropriate behavior will often be frustrated by your calm, reasonable approach because it doesn't give them the drama they need to justify their actions. If you've ever experienced this situation, type space in the comments and share how you handled it. Your experience might help someone else who's going through it right now. Section 3, you're just being paranoid. Gaslighting responses. When legitimate concerns are consistently dismissed as paranoia or insecurity, you might be experiencing gaslighting, a manipulation technique that makes you question your own reality. For example, if you notice your partner being unusually protective of their phone, staying out unusually late with vague explanations, or exhibiting other concerning behaviors, a faithful partner would typically address your concerns with empathy. They might say, "I understand why that made you worried. Let me explain what happened." In contrast, someone who's hiding something often deflects by attacking your character. "You're just paranoid. You're too insecure. You always create drama," or "you need to trust me more." Notice how these responses don't actually address your specific concern, but instead make you the problem. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus advises, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." If you're constantly made to feel that your concerns are imaginary, you can't learn the truth, which is precisely the point of this manipulation. Trust your instincts. While we should avoid baseless jealousy, your intuition often picks up on subtle inconsistencies that your conscious mind hasn't fully processed yet. If this section resonated with you, type 𝗕𝗲𝘃𝗲 in the comments. Your experience shared might be the validation someone else needs to trust their own judgment. Section 4. We're just friends. The inappropriate friendship. We're just friends can be entirely truthful. Healthy relationships allow for outside friendships. However, this phrase becomes concerning when it's accompanied by behaviors that don't align with typical friendships. Consider these warning signs. They hide communications with this friend. They become defensive when you ask about the friendship. The friend receives attention or priority that should be reserved for your relationship. You're consistently excluded from their interactions. They compare you unfavorably to this friend. As Musonius Rufus taught, we should not value things which can be taken from us by others. If your partner is investing emotional intimacy that belongs in your relationship into another connection, they're diverting what should be yours into someone else's hands. A healthy response to your concerns about a friendship would look like, "I understand why you're concerned. Let's talk about boundaries that would make you comfortable." Or even, "I'd love for you to get to know them so you can see there's nothing to worry about." Remember that emotional affairs often cause as much damage as physical ones. The betrayal of trust and intimacy hurts regardless of whether physical boundaries were crossed. Have you ever dealt with an inappropriate friendship in your relationship? Type boundaries in the comments if this section spoke to your experience. Section 5. You're overreacting. Minimizing your feelings. When legitimate concerns are consistently dismissed as overreactions, it's another form of invalidation that should raise red flags. Imagine finding messages that seem inappropriate, noticing your partner suddenly changing their appearance dramatically, or discovering they've been lying about their whereabouts. When confronted, instead of addressing the actual concern, they say, "You're making a big deal out of nothing," or "Why are you always so dramatic?" This minimization serves two purposes. It avoids addressing the actual issue, and it makes you feel irrational for having normal emotional responses to concerning behaviors. As Zeno of Citium taught, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen more than we say. A faithful partner who cares about your feelings will listen to your concerns without immediately dismissing them, even if they think you're mistaken. Trust yourself enough to know that your feelings matter. While emotions shouldn't be the only guide for our actions, they provide important information that shouldn't be ignored. If you consistently feel something is wrong, there's usually something worth investigating. If you've had your feelings minimized in a relationship, type "feelings matter" in the comments. Your story might help someone else recognize this pattern in their own life. Section 6. I've been really busy with work, school, family. Life gets busy for everyone. Careers demand attention, family emergencies happen, and sometimes other responsibilities temporarily take priority. However, persistent unavailability with vague explanations can be a warning sign. What makes this excuse concerning is when it's a sudden change without specific details. You're no longer included in their free time when they do have it. They don't make alternative efforts to connect with you. The pattern continues for extended periods without improvement. They become defensive when you try to participate in these busy parts of their life. As Epictetus wisely observed, people are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. The issue isn't necessarily that your partner is busy, it's that the nature of their busyness feels exclusionary and inconsistent with their previous behavior. Someone who truly cares about your relationship will say, "Work has been overwhelming lately, but let's set aside specific time for us." Or, "I know I've been distant with this family situation. Thank you for your patience. It means everything to me." Remember, even in the busiest periods of life, people make time for what they truly value. Have you experienced a partner who was suddenly too busy for your relationship? Type priorities in the comments if this resonated with you. Section 7. I need to find myself, or I'm not happy with who I am. Personal growth is important, and sometimes people genuinely need to work on themselves. However, these phrases can sometimes mask a different truth, that they've found someone else who makes them feel a certain way. What makes this concerning? These existential crises often coincide with meeting someone new. They frame the relationship as preventing their authentic self. The self-discovery conveniently excludes you. There's resistance to working on personal growth while remaining in the relationship. As Marcus Aurelius taught, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Self-improvement is admirable, but lasting happiness comes from developing inner strength and virtue, not from escaping commitments when they become challenging. A genuine need for personal growth doesn't typically require relationship destruction. Instead, it might sound like, I'm struggling with some personal issues and want to work on them. I'd appreciate your support during this process. Remember that true self-discovery is compatible with maintaining meaningful relationships. In fact, our closest relationships often provide the mirror we need to grow. If you've experienced this situation in your relationship, type authentic in the comments and share how you navigated it. Section 8, you deserve better than me. This phrase can seem selfless on the surface, as if your partner is thinking of your well-being. However, it often masks a deeper truth. They have already decided to act in ways that will hurt you, or they already have. When someone says you deserve better, they're often preparing you for their eventual departure, alleviating their guilt for their actions or intentions, testing your reaction to see if you'll fight for the relationship, creating a narrative where they're setting you free rather than betraying you. Seneca observed, "No person is free who does not master themselves." Someone who truly believes you deserve better would work to become better for you if they valued the relationship, not use this phrase as a convenient exit door. A partner committed to the relationship might instead say, I know I've failed to meet your needs lately. I want to do better because you deserve that, and I want to be the one to give it to you. Never chase someone who has told you that you deserve better. Either they're right, in which case, why are you chasing them? Or they're creating a manipulative narrative, in which case, why would you want them? If you've heard these words from someone you loved, type worth in the comments to remind yourself and others that we all deserve someone who wants to rise to our level, not someone who uses our value as an excuse to leave. Section 9, sudden accusation. Are you cheating on me? One of the most counterintuitive signs of cheating is when your partner suddenly starts accusing you of infidelity without provocation. This psychological phenomenon, sometimes called projection, occurs when someone attributes their own thoughts or behaviors to others. When someone is contemplating or engaging in infidelity, their mind becomes hyper-aware of the possibility of betrayal. Their guilt and newly developed secrecy may make them suspicious that you're capable of the same behavior. What makes these accusations particularly telling? They come seemingly out of nowhere. They persist despite your transparent behavior. They often follow periods when your partner was unavailable or unaccounted for. The accusations contain specific details that seem oddly particular. As Epictetus noted, when you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger. Unfortunately, those engaging in deception rarely follow this Stoic principle. Instead, they externalize their internal conflict. If these baseless accusations become frequent, consider it a potential sign that your partner is struggling with their own fidelity, not yours. Have you experienced being falsely accused by someone who was later revealed to be unfaithful themselves? Type projection in the comments if this pattern sounds familiar. Section 10, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. This phrase has become almost cliché, yet it continues to be used because it serves a purpose. It creates emotional distance while maintaining enough connection to keep options open. When someone distinguishes between loving you and being in love with you, they're often creating justification for seeking passion elsewhere, shifting responsibility for the relationship's problems to uncontrollable feelings, testing your reaction to their emotional withdrawal, preparing you for a potential breakup while keeping you as a safety net. Marcus Aurelius would remind us, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Rather than responding with desperation or anger, approach this statement with dignity. Love is not merely a feeling that comes and goes. It's a choice and a commitment that requires continuous nurturing. The in-love feeling naturally evolves throughout a long-term relationship, but that doesn't mean it can't be rekindled with intentional effort from both parties. Someone who values the relationship might instead say, "I feel like we've lost some of our spark, and I want us to work together to rebuild that connection." If you've heard this phrase from a partner, type choice in the comments to remind yourself and others that love endures when we choose it daily, not just when feelings are effortless. Section 10. I love you, but I'm not in love with you. This phrase has become almost cliché, yet it continues to be used because it serves a purpose. It creates emotional distance while maintaining enough connection to keep options open. When someone distinguishes between loving you and being in love with you, they're often creating justification for seeking passion elsewhere, shifting responsibility for the relationship's problems to uncontrollable feelings, testing your reaction to their emotional withdrawal, preparing you for a potential breakup while keeping you as a safety net. Marcus Aurelius would remind us, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Rather than responding with desperation or anger, approach this statement with dignity. Love is not merely a feeling that comes and goes. It's a choice and a commitment that requires continuous nurturing. The in-love feeling naturally evolves throughout a long-term relationship, but that doesn't mean it can't be rekindled with intentional effort from both parties. Someone who values the relationship might instead say, "I feel like we've lost some of our spark, and I want us to work together to rebuild that connection." If you've heard this phrase from a partner, type choice in the comments to remind yourself and others that love endures when we choose it daily, not just when feelings are effortless. Section 11. Philosophical reflection, the Stoic approach to betrayal. If you've recognized several of these signs in your relationship, you might be facing one of life's most painful experiences. The Stoic philosophers offer wisdom that can help you navigate this difficult terrain with dignity and inner strength. Epictetus taught, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." You cannot control another person's choices, but you can control how you respond to them. Here's how to approach potential betrayal with Stoic wisdom. 1. Seek truth, not confirmation bias. Investigate your concerns with an open mind, not just looking for evidence that confirms your fears. 2. Maintain your virtue. Even when treated dishonorably, choose to act with integrity. As Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. 3. Focus on what you can control. You cannot control your partner's choices, but you can control your boundaries, your responses, and ultimately, whether you remain in the relationship. 4. Remember that pain is temporary. Seneca reminds us, pain is slight if opinion has added nothing to it. The pain of betrayal, though acute, will eventually subside. 5. Use adversity for growth. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This wisdom from Marcus Aurelius reminds us that obstacles can become opportunities for personal development. Whether your suspicions are confirmed or not, remember that your worth is not determined by someone else's ability to be faithful. True peace comes from within, not from the validation of others. What Stoic principle helps you most when facing relationship challenges? Type wisdom in the comments and share the philosophy that guides you through difficult times. Section 12. What to do if you suspect infidelity. If several of these verbal cues have appeared in your relationship, you might be wondering what steps to take next. Here's a measured approach that balances self-respect with fairness. 1. Document patterns. Without becoming obsessive, make note of concerning behaviors, including when they started and any contextual factors. This helps you identify whether you're seeing an isolated incident or a concerning pattern. 2. Self-assessment. Ask yourself honestly if there are underlying issues in your relationship that might be contributing to distance. This doesn't excuse cheating, but helps you understand the complete picture. 3. Direct communication. Choose a neutral time to express your concerns using I statements. "I've noticed a specific behavior, and it makes me feel emotion. Can we talk about what's happening between us?" 4. Set boundaries. Clearly communicate what you need to feel secure in the relationship. Be specific about behaviors that cross your boundaries. 5. Consider professional help. A qualified relationship counselor can provide a safe space to explore these issues and determine whether the relationship can be rebuilt. 6. Prepare for any outcome. As Seneca advised, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Mentally prepare yourself for either confirmation of your fears or the discovery that your concerns were unfounded. 7. Trust your instincts. After gathering information and communicating openly, trust your gut feeling about whether you're receiving honesty in return. Remember that discovering infidelity doesn't have to mean the immediate end of a relationship if both parties are committed to rebuilding trust. However, you should never compromise your self-respect by accepting repeated betrayal. Have you successfully navigated suspicions of infidelity in a relationship? Type strength in the comments and share what helped you through that difficult time. Conclusion. We've covered several verbal indicators that might suggest your partner is being unfaithful. Remember that these signs aren't definitive proof of cheating, but rather potential warning signals that deserve attention and thoughtful consideration. As we conclude, I want to emphasize that the goal of this knowledge isn't to create paranoia, but to empower you with awareness. Understanding these patterns can help you approach relationship concerns with wisdom rather than reactive emotion. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. Whatever challenges you face in your relationships, your response shapes your character and ultimately determines your peace of mind. If you found value in today's video, please support 𝗕𝗲𝗄𝗏 by hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel. Your engagement helps us reach more people who might benefit from these insights. And remember, whether you're currently experiencing relationship doubts or simply absorbing this knowledge for future reference, approach all your relationships with both an open heart and clear eyes. True wisdom lies in balancing trust with discernment. Until next time, this is 𝗕𝗲𝗄𝗏, encouraging you to navigate life's complexities with Stoic principles and emotional intelligence. Don't forget to drop a comment below sharing which sign resonated most with you or any wisdom you've gained from your own experiences. Your insight might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Before you go, if this video helped you gain clarity or perspective, please take a moment to like and subscribe to 𝗕𝗲𝗄𝗏. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video on building healthier relationships and developing emotional intelligence.